I want to talk to you about something that's deeply personal to me. Family alienation. Extended family alienation. The kind that happens slowly in small moments over a long period of years. The feeling of being in the same room with people you should feel the most comfortable with, and yet you feel like you're a million miles away. Hey there, I'm Maddie, and welcome back to the Anti-Alienation Project, where I talk about all things related to a certain form of severe child psychological that I went through for 20 years. This often happens during a divorce or a custody battle where one angry parent goes on an obsessive rampage to manipulate their child into rejecting their other loving parent without due justification. This is a healthy, loving bond between a parent and a child that is purposefully destroyed by that other jealous, angry, spiteful parent. So I figured out the truth about 2.5 years ago, and I've been speaking out against this form of abuse from the child's point of view since last summer. Thanks for being here, and if you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. For a long time, I didn't understand what was happening. I just felt very uncomfortable at family events. This is my mom's side of the family, by the way, and my mom was the alienator in my case. She alienated me from my dad. So she alienated me from all of my extended family on her side as well. What I didn't know is that all my aunts, uncles, grandparents, even cousins, my mom's entire extended family were being fed terrible lies and accusations about me from my mom. Essentially, she was ruining my reputation to all of my extended family and portraying me as a bad kid. Naturally, in response, my extended family members began to treat me differently. I wasn't part of the family anymore, not really. And I had no idea how to fix it. If you're going through something similar in your own family of origin, I just want you to know you're not alone. That was me growing up. Birthdays, Christmases, Thanksgivings, any family celebration. Everyone was always there, but somehow I felt invisible. It wasn't in my face hatred or anything like that. It was much more covert and subtle. It was the little things, the moments that I would ask a question or say something and no one would respond. They would just ignore me. It wasn't always like this. There were times when I was close with my aunts and my uncles and my cousins, but slowly, so slowly that I didn't even realize it at first what was happening, I started to slip through the cracks. At family reunions, it felt like I wasn't really there. To me, I felt like I was on the outside looking in, and no one saw me. My mom began to tell me things about how my aunts, my uncles didn't like me, didn't respect me, felt bad for her for having to deal with me. So I began to stay away from them. At family gatherings, once I was a teenager, I often didn't come down from my room. Why would I? I was made to believe that my aunts and my uncles didn't like me. I felt so unwelcome that I would refuse to participate. It felt so incredibly uncomfortable to be around all of my family who had the same poor opinion of me that my mom forced down their throats. What I didn't understand back then is that these small moments, these little slights, they add up. They build something that becomes harder and harder to break. I started to question myself. Was it something I did? Was it something I said? Is it me? And over time, it felt like everybody just stopped caring. I noticed things like not being invited to family functions, family dinners, family trips. The worst part is it was all so subtle, meaning that if I were to confront somebody or to ask questions, which I did, I was gaslit into believing that nobody was doing anything wrong. And that might be one of the worst parts of all of this. It wasn't so overt. Nobody sat me down and said, hey, we don't want you in the family anymore. But the exclusion was louder than words. And the worst part is that no one noticed how it made me feel. Or maybe they just didn't care. I started to distance myself. I thought maybe it'll be better if I step back. I don't feel like part of the family anyway. Maybe they don't want me there. I didn't want to keep forcing myself into a place that I felt unwanted, so I stopped trying. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't you just say something, Madison? Why didn't you confront them? And the thing is, when you're dealing with family alienation, it's never about one conversation or one instance. It's years of unspoken words, years of silence, years of resentment and pain. And when you finally do speak up, it feels like you're trying to break through a wall that's been built so high and so wide that you're not even sure if you can see the top. One day, I did try to talk to my mom about it. I told her how I felt left out. I told her how I felt like no one cared, and I asked her to stop talking poorly about me to all my family members. I hoped that she would understand, and I hoped that she would listen. Instead, she just said, "Why do you always have to make things about you? Everyone's busy. It's no big deal. Nobody's doing anything wrong. You need to be more social. You can't expect everyone to come to you all the time." And then one of the favorite things to say, Maddie, sometimes if you look around and you have problems with people around you, it's better to look in the mirror and you'll find that the problem is actually you. And there it is, the biggest truth about familial alienation. You can try all you want to make things better, but if no one else is willing to meet you halfway, nothing will change. The longer it goes on, the harder it will be to repair. Because at some point, it stops being about individual things that hurt you, and it starts to become a pattern. It's a history of abandonment, a history of isolation, history of the silence, and you're put into a role in the family as the bad guy, the mess up, the black sheep, and you can't escape it. Now, I'm not here to tell anybody to cut off their family. I'm also not here to say that you should stop trying. Whatever you decide to do in these situations, obviously, is just up to the individual. I just want people to understand one thing. If you're feeling alienated from your family, it's not your fault. It's okay to acknowledge that pain. You're allowed to feel hurt. Normal people in this situation will feel hurt. You're allowed to feel whatever you're feeling, and you're allowed to say, "I deserve better than this." If you do decide to speak up, however that looks to you, just know that it's going to be hard. It might not change things overnight. It might not change things at all, but you don't have to carry this burden alone. Please don't keep putting your worth into the hands of people who don't value you and see you. It's taken me a long time to come to the terms with the fact that my family, including my extended family, will never be what I want it to be. But I've learned something really important in the process. Family is what you make of it. Sometimes the people in life who make you feel the most seen, the most loved, the most wanted are ones you find outside of your family of origin. And that is okay. Here are 5 practical tips for anyone experiencing extended family alienation, whether you are the family member who's being alienated or whether you are the family member who is witnessing alienation. Number 1. Acknowledge your feelings and set boundaries. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Alienation can trigger a range of emotions from sadness, guilt, anger, frustration, fear. It's important to acknowledge these feelings rather than suppress them. You may feel abandoned, overlooked, or misunderstood, and those emotions are all valid. The more you fight your emotional responses, the harder it will be to move through them. It's also important to set boundaries. A part of healing from alienation involves setting both emotional and physical boundaries. If certain family members are causing you pain, it is all right to set a boundary. That can look like limiting contact. That can look like avoiding situations that you know will trigger negative feelings. That may be no contact altogether. That might mean that you're cutting ties forever. But you're giving yourself space to heal and thrive. Number 2, communicate your feelings. If you feel ready and safe to do so, having an honest conversation with a family member you trust might really help you get some support. Express how you feel without blaming anyone, but focus on how their behavior has affected your well-being. Keep in mind that people may react defensively when you talk to them about these issues, and the conversation just might not go quite as planned. So be realistic. Understand that not everybody is going to be receptive, and that's okay. We're all at different stages of our learning. The goal here should be to express your feelings, your emotions, your truth, not to change anybody else's mind. Number 3, find a strong support system outside of your family of origin. If you're experiencing alienation in your family to any degree, it is so important to find support outside of your family. Friends, colleagues, anyone who makes you feel loved and supported can provide understanding and comfort in a time where you probably feel very isolated. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries, who love you and value you and cherish you, and who offer you a safe space to be yourself. If you do this, the chances are that it will help the feelings of isolation. It will remind you that you are loved and wanted and valued. Number 4, work on self-care and emotional resilience. When you are in this position in your family, it is very easy to accept everything as fact. There are a lot of people, a lot of numbers on their side and one of you, and it's tempting to internalize the hurt, to question your worth, question your value. So practicing self-care and emotional resilience is crucial. It might help you to engage in activities that nurture your mind and your body, like exercise, hiking, meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, anything that fills your cup and restores your energy and reconnects you with yourself. All of that can help build emotional resilience. For example, if you're feeling the isolation and the pain of being an outsider in your own family, it might help to take time to try to recognize your qualities that make you special. Your strengths, your talents, your positive impact on others and on the world. This will help you maintain your sense of self-worth even when others fail to acknowledge it. Same with finding support outside of your family of origin. And number 5, of course, please consider therapy or counseling with a knowledgeable therapist of family systems, personality disorders, narcissistic abuse, CPTSD, parental alienation if possible. Family alienation can deeply affect your sense of self and your sense of your identity. So speaking with a therapist or counselor who's knowledgeable and who will push back on what you're saying, who will challenge you, a professional can help you navigate all of your feelings and emotions and offer strategies to help cope with the family dynamics. If you're not sure what's best for you in this situation, whether that's to try to repair relationships or to walk away, a therapist can help you figure out what's best for you in that situation. And a bonus tip. The bonus tip is give yourself permission to let go. Easier said than done. If you've tried communicating your feelings, if you feel like you've tried everything, it's important to give yourself permission to accept that some relationships will not improve. Family members may fail to meet your emotional needs. In fact, some family members may hurt you more than anyone else on this planet, and continuing to invest energy into those relationships that consistently drain you and cause long-term harm will be at your own peril. Sometimes letting go, while extremely painful, is the healthiest option. So if you're sitting there right now feeling like you've been left behind by the people who should care about you the most, I want you to know you are not alone. Again, you are not alone, and you are not defined by the way others treat you either. Remember this, sometimes the people who are closest to you are the ones who make you feel the most broken. That doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. It simply means that some relationships, no matter what we do, no matter how we change, they will never improve. It's beyond our control, no matter how hard we try. And that's okay. Your worth, it does not depend on your family or anyone else for that matter. Sometimes the hardest lesson we learn is that it's okay to let go of things that can't change, things that are hurting us. It's okay as well to find peace in relationships that do nourish us, even if those relationships aren't the ones that we thought they would be. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit of time with me today. Thank you for watching. If you're struggling, please know that healing takes time, but it is absolutely possible. Stay strong, stay kind to yourself, and know that better days are ahead. Bye.